friends. It's me again, Hillbilly Scribbs, with you with a brand new installment of Hillbilly Scribbs' Truly Bizarre World. And as those of you know who watched the first one of these, this is our new show here on the Feeding the Monster podcast feeds YouTube channel, where we dig in and do some investigating research and find out all the truth about the weird stuff in the world around us, whether it's be the the paranormal stuff, or the UFOs and the aliens and probably the pod peoples and the scrolls, or the cryptids, like the woolly boogers, or just the weird conspiracy theories that are going on out there. This is where I do my investigating research and find out the truth for you. And we got something interesting for you today. Now, I was kind of thinking when I started this thing that I would get topics from the viewers, and I am going to do that. And at the end of the video, I'll go over how you can best get those to me. But sometimes something just sort of buzzes right in front of you and lands right in front of your face, right? And something has done that recently. If you folks have been paying attention to the news, you probably have heard about this. There are these things out there, and I ain't talking about a cryptid. This is like real, well, I mean, cryptids are real, but this is like real, like really real, like they got video and scientists have studied these things. And what I'm talking about is the murder hornets. That's right, they're hornets and they murder people. They straight up kill folks. They are mean and vicious and big, and they will take someone out without a second thought. So that's pretty bad, because we got enough stuff we got to worry about right now with the pandemic and the apocalypse and stuff. We don't got to be worrying about giant murdering hornets, right? Right. So I was wondering, maybe there's a natural remedy to this problem. Maybe there's a cryptid that we could find to battle these things and to save the day for us humans, right? So today's installment is going to be the first of a series of installments where I'm going to do some investigating research on insect cryptids that might be able to take out the murder hornets. Episode 2, the Alverasboro Gallynipper. Now this week we're going to go all the way down south to the Carolinas. This is the home of the Alverasboro Gallynipers. And as you can see from these artist renditions, these things are wicked evil looking and true blood suckers. And then as you can also tell from these actual photographs, they are no joke. They will get you. Yep, you seen it, folks. You just seen them photos and pictures. These critters ain't nothing to be trifled with. In the war on the murder hornet, this might be our best weapon. Let's find out. Here's what I learned about these things. So they come from an area of North Carolina called Alverasboro, and the Native Americans that lived in this area were called the Tuscarora tribe, I think. And what they did was they had tails of these giant skeeters, and they said they were like the size of hawks or eagles. And the way the story goes is if one of these things landed on you and stuck its sticker into you and started sucking your blood, it would suck you dry. So they would tell tales, if a brave or someone got bitten by one of these things, it was all over for them. Now, as the white folks started settling in this area, the port town of Alverasboro started springing up and growing, and it became a hub of commerce and a hub of transportation there in South Carolina. And this was probably about like 200 years ago, so it's been a while. There ain't much left of this town now other than I think a cemetery, and there may be like a museum or something there, but it is pretty much completely vanished. Now, in the swamp area around the town of Alverasboro, there was a lot of woods. So the timber industry and the lumberjacking industry blew up. And as the lumberjackers started going out into the woods and cutting down trees, the deeper they got, the more they started coming into contact with these giant, blood-sucking, winged monsters. And they started calling them gallinippers. Now, this kept going on and on over time, and you know it didn't really deter the lumberjacking industry there, but you know these guys were pretty spooked over these things. So there's not a lot as far as like written accounts or newspaper articles on these things. Now this was a long time ago, but the one story that I could find, and I found it in more than one places, was about this lumberjacker named Red Saunders. And I know what you're thinking. Man, that last name sounds familiar. Well, you ain't wrong, friends. That happens to be the last name of my roommate, Jeff. He might just be related to this guy. But anyway, here's the story about this Red Saunders cat. So he was this big, tough, strong braggart of a lumberjacker, and he was always going on and on about how tough he was and this and that and this and that. So one day the other lumberjackers, they just had enough of it, and they dared him. They said, you know what, Red? If you is so tough, why don't you just take off all your clothes and go hang out with them skeeters over there? Because the skeeter swarms were pretty bad. And that's not even talking about the gallinippers. So this guy was like, I ain't afraid of them. So he, you know, stripped down and laid face down on the ground, and you know, these swarms of skeeters started landing on him and going to town on him, and he didn't even flinch. Now this went on probably for about half an hour or so, and these skeeters were just tearing him up. Well, then all of a sudden, all the lumberjackers around Red started screaming and telling him, get up, get up, get out of there. And you know, it spooked him enough, even though he was a big, strong braggart, it spooked him enough that he jumped up and ran over into the swamp and dove in to get whatever was on him off of him. Turns out it was a gallynipper had landed on him and had started to bite him. And as far as I can tell from what I found out, this joker is the only person to ever survive a bite from a gallynipper. So that gets me to thinking, folks, if this guy is a relation to my roommate, what if this is kind of like that Spider-Man movie? What if that gallynipper biting Red Saunders, I don't know, like made some of its saliva or DNA or radioactivity go into Red, and he became like a mosquito man, and maybe they kept it hush hush, and maybe, just maybe, this has been passed down through the family. Maybe my roommate Jeff is a crazy mosquito man vampire. I don't know if that's going to help us with the murder hornets, but it kind of scares the heebie-jeebies out of me. I don't think I'm going to be sleeping with both eyes shut for a while. Thank you, Google. Well, anyway, I'm going to keep on doing my researching and my investigating, and we are going to find us a cryptid that can take on and defeat these murder hornets. So y'all stick with us and we will get it done. Now, if you've got a story or a topic idea for the truly bizarre world, the best thing to do is to download the Anchor app onto your mobile device. And you can go on there and look up the Feeding the Monster podcast feed and leave us a voice message. And, you know, it's just like making a phone call and leaving a message, except for you only got a minute to do it. And you know what? That's actually a good thing, because it keeps the super secret government agencies from tracking your calls. You can also leave topic ideas and story ideas right down there in the comments. Yeah, right down there. I see them. I see you comments. Leave them right down there. And we will use those on future installments of the Truly Bizarre World. I think that's about it for this time, folks. Definitely get on the Feeding the Monster podcast feed and check out all of our shows. You can find the Feeding the Monster podcast feed wherever fine podcasts are sold. There's plenty of good stuff on there. It will definitely tickle your funny bone. And I guess that's about it. You folks, keep it real, keep it weird, and keep it glorious.